Super Bowl champ, Ernest Jones.
Yeah.
I appreciate you being here. It's an honor to have you here. I'm looking forward to this, man.
For sure. Appreciate you having me.
We're going to start this off like this. Third round draft pick
Yeah.
to your rookie season, not only playing in the Super Bowl, but playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
To, in just 3 short seasons, being a defensive leader, which means a team leader.
Definitely.
Something like that takes more than just knowledge and skill, right? That takes something special inside and an upbringing that allowed you to accomplish something like that.
Sure.
So we're going to start from the jump.
Yeah.
Tell me what life is like growing up in Waycross, Georgia, before you played football.
It was tough, just growing up with a single mother. She did everything she could to, make sure that we had the basic necessities. But it was always tough just growing up. And those tough moments just made me just want stuff for her to be better.
Right.
Wanted for her to just have a better life than the one that she could provide for us. So I worked extremely hard to get those accolades, but it was just mainly just wanting to provide for my family, wanting to make sure that, we never had to go back to the days where we were without. So
Right.
that was my main goal, main focus.
Right. That's a powerful thing, man. Like being able to use the environment around you as fuel and not as something to deter you from a goal or from a dream or from dreaming big, right? That's amazing. So what age did you get into football?
I was probably playing tackle football since I was like 4 or 5 years old. I've been playing since a young, and I remember they tried to make me like play flag football, but I just didn't get the gist of it. I just kept tackling people. So they immediately moved me over to like playing flag, and I've been doing that since then.
Okay. And was it from the jump where you felt like you knew you were good, or was it like, did it take a bit for you to realize that you were like really good at the sport?
Everybody would tell me that since I was a young kid that I had it. But it took for me just to figuring it out for myself, gaining that confidence for myself. Then I'd say like towards my end of my college career, I finally figured it out. I figured out like, hey, I can truly play a little bit. So let's try to take it up a notch.
That's amazing. So it took you to almost college, or in college, for you to feel that.
Right.
But you kept working that whole time.
For sure.
That's the mindset that I'm talking about.
Definitely.
Like some people would be like, either they thought they made it from the jump to work that hard, or if they felt like they couldn't make it, or they weren't where they wanted to be just yet, maybe they quit. But that mindset of like always pushing forward, always trying to get better, was something that I think is the reason why you are the way you are and accomplish what you accomplish.
Definitely.
I read that you are a huge guy in visualization. Can you explain where that came from?
I always call it God-given. Like that's one of my God-given talents right there. Just being able to feel things instead of like actually having to see it. Just definitely in football, just feeling like O-linemen and people around me rather than just having to put my eyes on it. I feel like that's something I've always had.
Right. That just came. That's like you said, it was God-given.
Yeah, for sure.
That's dope. So for me, I started using visualization when I was probably, I don't know, like 10 years old, 12 years old. My dad would work on that with me.
Right.
And we would sit in the living room and I'd do my mechanics over and over. And then he'd say, all right, close your eyes. And we would go through my mechanics and he'd say, paint a picture for me. I want you to take me there. Yeah. What you hear, what you smell, what you're feeling, who you're facing.
Right.
I think it's important to do that at a young age because one, it's putting yourself in positive situations and allowing you to use your imagination for good ways as a tool, right?
Definitely.
And the other thing is that it allows you to almost accomplish your goal 1,000 times before you actually get there. So when you actually get to that point, you're like, I've been here before.
Yeah,
I mean, my first MLB game, I must have thrown in that 1 million times.
Yeah.
And so when I got in that, I was like, this is just like my dreams, except not as extravagant because I have extravagant dreams. But I think it's important to do that.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And you started that from a young age, and that's amazing.
Definitely.
NFL was always the goal from you from the jump, right?
Right.
Right. So how did you approach college? Like as a stepping stone, or did you really try to get something out of it? Because
I think I like to think I did both. I know for me, my mindset was strictly on like football, but I knew there was no way I could make it to the NFL or even get through college without actually handling the school aspect of it. So
Right.
I took school as serious as what would kind of get me by, honestly.
Yeah.
I could have done a lot better, but I gave it a shot, I would say, and just decided to come out after 3 years and not have to worry about finishing school quite yet.
I mean, I agree with that, or I had the similar thing.
Right.
I was going for my PhD in baseball.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Now, I because I was in school and I was always taught, you know, if you're going to do something, do it well.
Right.
And I was able to make all academic, you know, a few times and stuff like that. But I was definitely more going into it for the baseball aspect.
For sure.
And even the classes that I took them because I thought they may have made me a better baseball player. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
So you know, that was my mindset with that. So then we move forward to the draft. So you said you left early to go into the draft. What was your expectations with the draft? Did you think you would go before or later, or what was that like?
I honestly, I was defeated by the time the draft came. I didn't perform well at pro day as I thought I should. I'm always like striving for perfection, so my pro day wasn't perfection. It was like dropping balls, just felt like I didn't do well enough to even get drafted. But I ended up going in that third round, and I was kind of honestly shocked in a sense. Like I expected it because I knew what type of player I was, but for the LA Rams to call me in round 3 like that, kind of caught me off guard, and I was ready to get to work. Like I was just excited and ready to show everybody that I am better than, you know, what I've showed at pro day and what I can be.
Yeah. No, I think I had the same feeling as you when I got drafted, man. Like I was drafted 21st round, and I was just like hoping, like, just give me an opportunity.
Right. No,
just let me get my foot in my door, because I know I have a MLB talent.
for sure.
You just hadn't seen it yet, but
That's
I know. Just give me the opportunity and let me work. And that's the mindset that you have to have. How hard was it for you after you were drafted to wait until your time, right?
Yeah.
Because with that, we have a similar mindset. You're like, hey, I'm ready right now. Like, what are you talking about? You know, so how did you handle that part?
Yeah, waiting's always been the hardest thing for me. Like in every step that I've taken, I've had to wait my turn and just wait till it was truly my time to, you know, shine in a sense. So waiting was hard, sitting behind guys, and I just took it as a learning tool, like learn from these guys, because I know once I'm given that opportunity, I'm going to take full advantage of it.
Right. You use that situation to continue to learn.
Definitely.
And I think that's important for people to know that, because success doesn't always come right away.
At all.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes every time you have to work for it, and it's not going to come quick. Sometimes it doesn't come quick anyway. And so in that time, you can choose to complain about that.
Right.
You can choose to say all the reasons why you should be up there, or you can get to work and learn the actual things you need to do, so that when you do get your turn, you're ready, right? You're ready. And that turn came in, what was it, week 4 when they traded Kenny Young?
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much, there's 2 things that happened with that, I feel like. One, it allowed you to see that, wow, this is a business, and you can be gone like that, right? And number 2, the feeling of, oh, it is my turn, or what I like to call shine time, right?
Yeah,
so how did you handle those 2 things?
No, that's exactly it. Just seeing that that happen. I mean, me and Kenny were literally in the weight room working out together when the conversation came about with him being traded. So that right there, like, showed me the business aspect, but I also was just ready to go play football. Like I knew at that moment in time, like, I was the next man up. So I was ready. I'd already been preparing myself like I was the starter. So just to go step into that moment was it was easy for me, because I had already prepared and been ready for that moment.
Right, and you probably visualized that moment probably over and over. So whenever you went there, it was the same thing for me, man. When I started to be a closer in the big leagues, our closer at the time, Steve Cishek, is one of the best guys ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he was just having a rough go, and I was balling that year. And I was setting myself up to that. And I think I visualized and I really thought about, like, all right, prepared for that moment. When it came, I took advantage of it. Similar to the way you did, you started 7 games after that. On your first game, did you get a interception?
Yeah, I did.
He has a moment on the move. He's going to have to throw, and it's intercepted. Ernest Jones, the rookie linebacker who replaced Kenny Young, returns it back inside the 12 of Houston.
Yo,
It's the first game, caught a
exactly.
little pick, and that kind of like made it for sure in my mind. Like, yeah, you belong here. Like, you can do this. So
Right.
it gave me that confidence I needed for sure.
Right, and then weeks 14 and 15 were probably arguably your best 2 weeks of the season.
Right.
The regular season.
Definitely.
You pick off Kyler Murray.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? You know, like whenever how did you see that pick? Can you paint
Yeah.
the picture for me?
We just from the weeks prior, I just know that once Kyler gets in trouble in a sense, he'll just throw the ball without looking. So I just knew we were down there in the red zone. I knew this could be a moment for me to come away with a ball right here. And he got into a little bit of trouble from Aaron Donald. And when anybody sees him, they're trying to get rid of the ball.
You want to get rid of it quick.
So he got rid of it quick, and I just so happened to be right there, just standing, waiting on it. So
Yeah, and then
Good
you made
pick.
it was like almost like a one-handed catch.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was the worst part of my workout, or team workouts, is stretching.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm ready to go. I'm
ready to
right
get
now.
into
As soon as
it.
I retire, I'm like, I'm not warming up.
Right.
Like, what I got to worry about getting hurt anyway?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, all I got to do is live life now.
So, this is something similar we would do if I was at your house. Like, if I came to your crib and you didn't have a backyard, or you just had like a little small area, like we're in your bedroom or whatever, or your dining room. This is about as much space as we'll have anyways, right?
Right.
So, I'm gonna give you both of these. So this is in-season work, man. Low impact. You know, mostly mobility. Put it around your knees.
Gotcha.
All right, so stationary right now. Make sure it's above your knees. All right, so we're gonna do external rotation on the right leg, external rotation on the left leg, 10 each. All the way to the end of the blacktop, and we're gonna do what's called a monster walk, right? Stick every step. When
Okay.
you get to the top, revert.
This is the position you want to be in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Squat.
Yeah. Okay.
So I want you to have a nice easy stagger, right? We're gonna go forward. All you're gonna do is kick forward. Boom. Right? 5 forward, 5 back.
Keeping that hinge.
Yep. In place, hands on hips. We're gonna do a nice easy march. Nice easy march. Now what you don't want to happen, you don't want the base leg to collapse. As soon as you pull the leg up, it's gonna want to collapse. You want to try to force that. So I want you to back up to where your toes are on the ground, your heels are elevated, right? Arms are straight out. You're pushing into the wall, right? Kind of like when you're doing your combine training, just marching, smooth, easy. Now, same thing. We don't want the band to drop us down into that chair. All right? So nice 10 on each side. Total 5 on each side. Oh.
Too much power for the mic.
Yeah, right. Okay, when you hear me say hit, switch legs. Here we go.
Okay.
Hit, hit, hit. Off reactions. Then we got 2 people. Let me get you right here, and let me get you right here.
Facing.
Facing each other. All right, so you're gonna take a lateral step. He doesn't know when you're gonna step.
Okay.
You don't know when he's gonna step, right?
Right.
You're trying to get him to jump, basically, right?
Okay.
Now, if you do a little shoulder movement and step with the right, that's perfect. That's what we want. We don't want to sell it like it's just he knows exactly where you're going every time. Because what happens in the game? You don't know what the fuck's going on.
Right.
Right.
And what is the other person trying to do?
He's trying to copy you. Cat and mouse.
Okay, so
You're the mouse.
Okay.
6, 7. There we go. 8. 9. One. Nice. 4.
I got you one time or a couple times right there.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. I got you.
Okay. Ready, here we go. On you. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom.
What do you think about all that?
It's good. Good work.
It's dope, right?
Yeah.
Well, I never done nothing like that though.
Yeah, no.
Right.
This initial first one is kind of just working on range of motion, ROM, right? What we're doing is we're trying to get you to get out of your comfort zone. I'm looking for a lot of internal and external rotation. So like when you start to work on your balance, what naturally happens is you want to stay completely aligned, right?
Right.
But in order to like stay in bounds or make a catch or make a tackle, your knee gets out of whack.
Right.
People get hurt. So what this does, it's gonna help work on that, right? It's gonna help work on your ankle strength, your ankle mobility, being able to stay on balance, being able to move, catch your balance, a lot of different things, right?
I'm good on this.
Yeah, man. Hey, all you got to do now.
Yeah, I'm good. You can show mine.
Fans count.
Oh, man. All you gotta do is pick up the Lego, drop it in the foam roller. Money, we beat me again. So keep in mind, this is like maybe a third of what we normally do.
Yeah.
Obviously, I usually come out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, games on Sunday, and then I'll try to get one more in Monday.
Right.
So Monday, you guys don't have practice, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like an in-season type of thing. We would do one day of this, one day of pull work, and one day of either TRX or resistance band work.
Right,
So it's
okay.
just like not too taxing, but it still gets you to use the muscles. Because like, I don't know if you're familiar with like all the teams that still currently work out throughout the season.
Yeah.
They get stronger throughout the season. They play better. I appreciate you, brother.
No, I appreciate you.
Thank you again.
Definitely.
No worries.
For sure.
It's all good, man. AJ, you know your family here.
Yeah.
Whenever you want to come back,
For sure.
with me.
Definitely.
You know, in life, sometimes things just come out of nowhere, right? Sometimes, like, everything is going good. You're sitting there, you're like, hey, I'm flowing.
Right.
That moment happened to you in week 16
Yeah.
when you had an injury. What was it like whenever you first got hurt, right? And then sitting in the training room and it was like, it's my turn now, man. I'm here,
Yeah.
right? So what was going through your mind when you got injured, right when you're starting to get your groove?
Yeah, like that. You're spot on. I was just starting to feel comfortable. Like the weeks prior, I had been playing okay football, but nothing like I expected to play. But I had just gotten in a rhythm in that game, and then for that to happen, it kind of brought me down a little bit, just thinking that all the hard work that I'd put in had just went away and that I wasn't going to be able to come back and be the starter and be back to where I was. But that was just that split-second doubt, and then once we were able to get an MRI, figure out what was truly wrong, and once they said that I had a chance of being able to come back as long as we kept winning games, that's all I needed. So
Yeah.
I just worked, got back in 4 weeks from the ankle surgery, and I was ready to go.
I want to go over that in a bit, but I'm laughing when you're saying things because they're exactly things that I said when I had Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
It was at the end of my junior season, and they were like, "We're not sure if you're gonna make it back for next season." I was like, "What are the odds? Do I have a
Right.
shot?" And they said, "Yeah, I mean, you have a shot,
That's
but
all you
it's a
need.
slim. It's all I needed." That usually takes a year to come back from in baseball.
Right.
I was back pitching in games in 10 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, you count me out if you want to, but
That's it.
give me just a little bit of a shot. You know what I mean? I think that part of you is the reason, you know, that's taken you so far, you know,
Right.
and it's like, it's trust in self, it's faith in self, it's faith in that no matter what, everything's going to be all right, and the goals you set are going to be there, and you're going to achieve it. Speaking on that injury, though, what are the things you did to come back so quick? I know there's a lot of fans out there that don't know a lot that is
Right.
available out there, and even as a baseball player, I don't know what all football players
Yeah.
have, you know. So what are the things that you did to help get ready?
So basically, I had a tightrope surgery, and so basically it just brings the ligaments closer back together quicker than you just allowing it to heal from so I had a high ankle sprain, but with a few tears. So it just allows it to come back and brings them back quicker and allows you to start the healing process. But I really just attacked just the rehab. Like, that was probably the hardest thing I probably went through in my life, honestly, just rehabbing and the ankle not wanting to move and you having to force it move and just break through scar tissue. It was a lot of pain, but just fighting through that was big for me.
Yeah, and it's a different hard work. You know, like, I'm used to like running hard and like lifting heavy weight and
Right.
like feeling nauseous while working out.
Definitely.
But doing little muscles and little bitty tedious things where
worse.
like it's you start moving your ankle and you're like, damn, I didn't know I had muscles there. I didn't know I can move it that way. Like, the attention to detail with a lot of those injuries and how hard it really works your mind
For sure.
to get back from something like that is tough. So you get hurt and you have to play or get your bearings going in a huge game in the playoffs.
Right.
Do you think that helped your healing process? Like, do you think it helped you, like, all right, let's get going faster? Or do you think it was like, or how do you think that played into that?
It definitely helped. I was nervous going into the game. The only thing I felt strong. I just felt like, what'll happen if I get in that same situation again where my ankle is tucked underneath someone. And literally the first play, I was tucked underneath someone. And once I was able to get up and like make it back from that, I was like, okay, the ankle's ready. Let's go play now. So,
right.
So that was the big thing.
It gave you that confidence to where you're, like it just happened instantly. Like the thing that I feared came up,
right,
and it tried to hurt me, but it didn't.
It didn't.
Right. Right. You allowed your mind to be like, because some people, even if it wasn't that bad, once they get in that moment again, that sets them back, right?
Definitely.
But like when you have that strong mind like you do, like little things like that, you actually assess, like, do I really feel pain?
No, for
sure. You know what I mean? And that's something that's amazing about that. So then we fast forward to, again, I alluded to it earlier.
Right.
You played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So would you consider that game? Did you feel like you were in the zone for that game? And what does the zone for you feel like?
Yeah, I definitely think I was in the zone. Just that whole week, like knowing in the back of your mind there's one game and it's the most important game of your life and you have to, perform. Like I was the young guy on the team. So the last thing I wanted to happen was for us to lose the Super Bowl because of me. Like I did not want that to be the case. So I was locked in, and for me being locked in is just, I feel like there's nothing that I don't feel or see on the football field once I'm truly locked into my moment and my mode. So I'm able to go tackle any and everything, and I'm almost like one step ahead when I'm in that zone.
Right. Well, that's that feel that we were talking about. The funny thing about that is that I felt like I can only perform when there was pressure. Whenever I came in the game to get a touch-up or a tune-up and we were winning by a lot or losing by a lot, for whatever reason, I couldn't lock in. It was like the game didn't matter enough for me, even though, like, how can you say that about a professional sport?
No,
you know what I mean?
I got you.
So, like, that type of mentality, man, I just love that feeling.
Yeah.
Just getting that moment when the game's on you and you said, I'm not going to be the reason we lose this game. Well, like, if I did bad in my position, there's no way that we win the game.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I'm not going to be the one to lose the game. And I think with that, you have your teammates in mind. You know what I mean? Like, it's more of a unit type thing. You're like, we're not going to lose.
No, I'm with you.
So, do you think well, first of all, what was it like when you guys won, where that was it?
It was like a big sigh of relief. Like, I always say, like, I felt lighter running around the field than I've ever felt in my life. Like, that was just amazing, just being able to run around the field and knowing that you were the last man standing. Like, you did it. All the workouts, everything that you've been through came down to this one moment, this one game, and you finished your job. Like, being in that confetti, seeing your teammates happy, seeing them with their families and they're happy, like, it brought it all, like, together for me.
Right. You probably picture all of the hard times getting there when you were young, and just your whole career life flashed before your eyes.
All right.
Man, that's got to be I never got to experience that. None of the teams that I was on were very good. We had some good players, but we just, for whatever reason, could never put it together, man.
Right.
But yeah, I'm jealous of that. But playing in a game so big, so early in your career, how do you think that affects, like, the rest of your dream? Because that's most guys' dreams, like, from the jump.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you accomplished it from the jump.
Right.
So how do you think that affects the rest of your goals?
For most, I think a lot of people would get complacent in a sense and not, thinking, I got a Super Bowl, I'm done, I'm complete. But me, I want so much more. I want another one of those moments like that, to win a Super Bowl and see teammates, happy and just knowing that, we did it.
Right.
I want more than just one Super Bowl. I want a couple. So can't do that if I just give up and stop and just be happy with what just happened.
Right.
So got to keep working.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's where that mindset comes in. Like, you're never going to be satisfied with your playing career. That's the way I was, man. I think that's ultimately what ended my career, was trying to be better than I was at that moment.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's one of my faulties, is that I always try to do too much. Do you find that is something that a problem you run into as well?
Yes, for sure. I deal with, like, knocking myself if I don't, do the best that I think I can.
Right.
Like, I get into a deep, like, funk in a sense, and I just want to be perfect. And I know I'll probably never be perfect in this game, but I try so hard to be perfect. So I definitely deal with that.
Yeah. So, what do you do to get out of those funks? You know, because I felt I have similar feelings. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, how do you get out of that when you're in one of those funks?
I'm learning now how to kind of just move on from it. Just know, like, it's life. Like, you're not going to be perfect at every turn. So I'm honestly in the process of learning how to deal with it. And I get a lot of help from the lady. She knows how to make sure when I'm home that we aren't always in full football mode. Like, I'm not trying to tackle her or anything like that. So she keeps me grounded in a sense, and I'm still processing and trying to learn how to get through those minor setbacks when I have them.
Right. I mean, it's about getting that balance in between being Ernest Jones, the football player,
Right.
and Ernest Jones, the man. You know,
Definitely.
like finding the best balance so that each moment of your life gets what you need from it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or is getting the best from you. And I know that can be tough. Like, that's part of the reason why my relationships, I didn't get into relationships till after or later in my career, you know what I mean? Because I wanted to be so focused on it. But when you find a good partner, it sounds
Right.
like your lady's like someone that understands it. That's an
got me.
important part, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
That helps out the process and kind of eases you outside of the game,
for
right?
sure.
Right. So now, in just 3 seasons, you're one of the team leaders.
Right.
What type of leader are you?
For me, it's by action, but I'm also vocal. Like, once I get out there on that football field, it's different for me. I'm not always, I'm cool, but in a sense, I'm here to do work and I'm here to do business, and I just love the game enough. So I'm always just trying to get the teammates to play at their best, whatever that takes for me. So
Right.
I'm always probably the loudest one out there, but I'm also the one that's just working hard, trying to make sure everybody follows me and just make sure everything that if leadership is what the role that I'm put into, that I'm doing it at the best.
Right. In every aspect, it feels like you're making it as intentional as possible.
Right.
You're making sure you're putting in the work. You're making sure to cross your T's, dot your I's.
Definitely.
And that's why you're gonna continue in this game for a long time with that type of mentality. How much of that did you learn from Bobby Wagner?
Oh man, I learned a lot from him. He truly showed me, like, yeah, I worked hard, but to be in the game 10 plus years the way I would love to be, and to do it at a high level like him, you got to work harder, and it's got to be consistent every day. So a lot of my work ethic now and a lot of the things that I do different now came just from watching him just be a great athlete every day.
Right. Yeah, being around someone like that, like legends like that,
Right.
can help you out so much. Like for me, Barry Bonds was a hitting coach with the Marlins.
Okay.
So being around him, hearing him talk, and just picking things from him.
Right.
And then Ichiro Suzuki.
No idea.
I played with him, and so those two guys are goats of the game.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean? And just to watch Ichiro, who had the most crazy routine and diligent routine, like it was nonstop, and I kind of crafted my routine off of that and altered it for that. And I remember him coming up to me and was like, "Hey, I respect your game and I respect your routine. The way you go about the game is commendable."
That's dope.
And I was like, that's gonna be put on my gravestone.
Yeah.
Like, getting a comment like that from Ichiro Suzuki, man,
Thanks.
like I knew I was in the right direction at
Right.
least. Talking about after games, how do you go from that high energy and then to Ernest Jones outside of that? Like, what are the things you do to wind down from the excitement of the games?
Right now, it's probably, for me, I'm still like, even until the next day, I'm still hyped off the game. Like, especially if we lost, like we were doing a good bit last season, I'm probably still like up watching the game, trying to figure out what it is that we can do better. I really haven't learned how to like let it go in a sense. When I go home, I like to eat some food, and then I'm back watching the game, talking to my friends and family about how the game went and what they thought and what they seen. Like, we're a big football family, so I'm talking to them like they're my coaches, like just trying to figure it out. So I think after, like now, I probably get into just trying to get away from it more and just get into like golf or something after the game or something. Do something.
Yeah. There's definitely have to be some separation from that. Because then you run into, let's say you guys have a streak of bad games.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then all of a sudden for 3 or 4 weeks, you're in that funk. So like having something to still make football the most important thing in your life when you are at the football field is important. But then when you come off, having at least 10% to do something at the very least, you know what I mean? Because you get too caught in that cycle, man, and it's draining.
Definitely.
It's draining. Like I was on the Marlins. We lost 100 games in one season, bro. We played 162 games, and we lost 100 games. Yeah. And when you're on a team like that, bro, you don't even want to go to the field.
Yeah,
you're like,
it's not
man,
a good feeling.
You look at your paycheck like, okay, yeah, I'm going to the field. You know, you're like, all right, that's the only reason I'm going to the field right now because, I mean, the fans, they booed us.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It was an awful feeling. So, you know, being able to have the separation between, you know, what you do and who you are is important, you know what I mean? And that's something, it was hard for me to do that when I was younger, but as I got older, I started to find different ways.
Definitely.
I mean, you just said you just got into golf, you know, I don't know, that's frustrating too, but.
No, yeah, it's very frustrating. Had a frustrating morning too. But no, it's fun, it's addictive. It's one thing that I just want to get really, really good at, so I'm going to keep working at it.
You're going to use that same mentality, then we're going to see you on the PGA Tour?
Come on now, that's the goal.
Yeah. So you're still pretty young, really young right now.
Yeah.
So this may not pertain to you as much, but what is your diet like, and how do you fuel your body to get the most out of your body?
For me right now, I'm on a pretty heavier diet than usual. I usually like drop a lot of weight once we start playing football, so I'm trying to build more, get more weight, get a little bit bigger so I can handle the drop a little bit better. But for me, it's a lot of just eating 2 to 3 hours, every 2 to 3 hours, and it's a lot of protein-based foods, a lot of rice, a lot of smoothies. Just at this point, just trying to eat whatever, get calories and stuff.
Right. So you're trying to build more.
Right. No,
how do you think that's gonna transition to your game?
I think it's gonna help it a bunch.
Yeah.
I'm excited about this year.
Laying some thunder on somebody.
Yeah. It's gonna help out.
What about your speed and stuff?
Right.
Like, does that alter that at all, or do you think? I guess it depends on the type of workouts you're doing too.
Right, and I think in a sense for me, I've gotten faster. That may be just my thoughts, but I feel a lot more powerful, a lot stronger, a lot faster. So I'm excited.
Yeah. We'll be looking for that, man. What is your pregame routine like? Like, what is your anything that you do before you go to the field? Like, is there you touch a certain part on your wall before you walk out the door? Or?
All my pads and stuff have to be in a certain way. When I put on my uniform, I kind of start making sure everything is perfect. Everything has to be look
in its place.
So that's kind of like a bad habit that I have. I have to make sure it's good.
Is it almost like OCD?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is for sure.
I mean, well, it's working out for you, man. I would stick with that. Anything special about the number 53?
I switched from 50 to 53.
Okay.
All through all my life I wore 35. So when I got to college, my college coach he wouldn't let me get number 35 for some reason. So I switched it to 53 backwards, and ever since then I've been I just love that number. I love it. Love what it's me. It's what feels best on me.
Right. That's the way. Actually, 44 was given to me.
Okay.
But after that, I loved it.
Yeah,
and then now I see it everywhere. It's like one of those numbers that just pops up.
No, yeah.
I look up and it's 444. And my number to get my food is 44.
That's what got me too.
Yeah.
Everything. 53 was just a number that I just see so often. Even with time.
Yeah.
I always catch it at 6:53, 7:53. I'm okay.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's the same thing with me. 44 is, I don't know. It's always going to be special to me for some reason. Do you have any motivational quotes or mantras that you go by? Is there something that you say in your head whenever you are feeling maybe not confident, or maybe feeling like you need a boost or something like that? Is there something that you lean on?
I'm not really. I always tell myself to keep going. So when it gets tough, just keep going, because there's a brighter side at the end. If you quit, right before or when it's tough, you never know what you'll see when you come out on the other side. So I always just think, just keep going.
Right. I'm AJ Ramos, the host of The Locker Room, and I'm here with Super Bowl champ Ernest Jones.
What's up? What's up? Pleasure being here, man.
Ernest was cool. Throughout this journey, I've been able to relate to many of the guests, and I didn't even think that was possible because they're playing different sports. I related so much to him. I brought up, the Super Bowl champion. I could see him get like a little bit shifty with it because I think in his mind, that's not the end of his story. He wants to be so much more than that. The way I play too, every season I felt like I could get better and there was something to improve on. And when I was talking to him, that was his mindset. That's one of the biggest reasons that he is one of the leaders on the team right now in just 3 seasons. That's almost unheard of. He just seems like a driven individual, and I saw myself in him. I saw similarities with us, and there were certain things that I was saying that he was like, man, you hit that right on the head. When you have the work ethic like Ernest, you can never be complacent because you're always going to try to find ways to be better at what you do. I think that's something that people can learn is his will to continue to improve and get better. And that's the reason why he's where he is now. And that's the reason why he's going to have a good career.
Crazy thing is Chase came up to me like 2-3 weeks ago and said I was 24 tackles away. As soon as he told me, I was like, oh, this is going to be the hardest 24 tackles I've ever got. And to finally get it, it means everything to me to do it for this franchise. But man, I'm from South Georgia. These things don't happen. So just good to be bringing something back home like this, like a record, and just look forward to continuing to inspire the kids from back home.